Did anybody enjoy that worship set? Is that like, my goodness. I don't even really think I need to preach. Like, we'll just, I'll pray it out and you all can go to Finn's for lunch. Does that sound good? Somebody want to buy the pastor lunch? I'll take it. Anyway, that was Nate's friends. Nate is our creative pastor, and our worship leader, Bo, needed today off. And he's like, I have some friends who just play music together occasionally. I'm like, well, maybe you all should play music together more often. You're pretty good. You're pretty good. But thank you guys. So a lot of them, that's their first time in the building. So thank you guys for coming and just doing an amazing job. Appreciate you all. And appreciate you all in the building. You guys, look, like I want to show you some love because you're looking extra fresh and good today. Especially this side. You guys look the best, okay? Sorry, guys. My wife's sitting on this side, though, so that's how that works. But I'm glad you guys are here. Big shout out to everybody who's new, everybody who's watching online right now. We love you guys for tuning in. And I want to give a shout out to Bill Ertl, who just walked in the room. We got a picture of Bill. This is where Bill spends the whole worship set. This is in our back closet, and he's switching all the computer stuff for people who are online. And so, Bill, you're the man. Thank you. It's not the best looking of places where we send Bill, but he's doing great back there. Anyway, hey, we are talking about being better together, and this series is not, we're not excluding anybody from this series, all right? So if you're single, this series is for everybody. If you're single, if you're dating, if you're married, or even if you're from New Jersey, this series is for everybody. All right, and so I want to start out today this way. I want us to go all way back. All right, can you jump in the DeLorean with me? We're going to go back in time. I wore my jean jacket today because I wanted to talk about 1989. Now, 1989, I was in second grade, and I have my second grade elementary school picture. You want to see it? Sure. Are you ready for it? Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm ready for you to see my second grade picture. But here's my second grade picture right here. We'll throw it on the screen. Woo! Stop. Listen, you always bring up the hair, y'all. Like, listen. I can't help it. It's genetic. Anyway, yeah, my hair, I had hair, but it's combed straight down. So my style game was already off. But my favorite thing about this picture is the tooth gap. Like my whistle game in second grade, like I was... Oh, you could drive a DeLorean through that tooth gap right there. But when I was in second grade, I remember three things about 1989. I was in Mrs. Short's class, and in 1989, everybody had a Trapper Keeper, notebook. You remember those? And you put your Trapper Keeper in your JanSport backpack. Yeah? And here's what else I remember about second grade. Elementary school love notes. Now, I didn't get any, because I don't know if you see my picture or not, but I didn't get any. No, but in elementary school, you remember those love notes like, will you go out with me? Yes, no, or maybe so. Who remembers that? Yes. And like that back in the day, that's how you had to ask somebody out. There wasn't text messaging. You couldn't like slide into somebody's DMs. You had to like get a laser printer paper, and you had a number 2 pencil, and you did the yes, no, maybe so thing. So I found a couple online love notes from elementary school that I thought were pretty funny. And you want to see a couple of these to get a little laugh today? All right, here's my second favorite one was this. It says this: Dear Ashley, would you please be my girlfriend? I like you a lot. Yes, no, maybe. P.S. Please put yes, no, or maybe. Captain Obvious here wrote like P.S. Please put yes or no or maybe. She writes back, I'm sorry, I already have a boyfriend, Kyle, but when we break up, you're my next choice. Wait. P.S. That will probably be in a month or two. Listen, if you had a girlfriend in second grade named Ashley and she broke up with you, now you know why. I'm sorry I had to find out in church. Oh, here's my favorite one. This is my favorite one. Next one, Sean. This is from Rachel. Sean, I am breaking up with you. You have not talked to me since the day you asked me out. That was 3 months ago. You need to get it together or you will never get married, and that will be sad. You should get married, just not to me. Rachel is as cold as ice, man. But that's how you asked somebody out back in 1989. That's what you did. All right. Now, fast forward to 2003. You all want to hear how I asked my wife out? Yeah. Want to hear the story? Sure. Okay. All right. All right. Here's a story of how I asked my wife out. I didn't ask my wife out. She asked me out. I worked all week on that. No. It's true. I did not ask Stacy out. She asked me out back in 2003. I don't know how it happened. I guess, ladies, you all were liberated or something, and she asked me out. And here's what happened. I had just gotten to know who Stacy was, and a bunch of us started hanging out in a friend group, and Stacy was in the friend group, but it was not a romantic situation. Now, I was hoping it would become a romantic situation. All right, my wife, she was hot then, and she's hot now, so I was like, my eyes are on her. But I thought there's no way this is ever going to happen. And so one day, after we'd been hanging out, a bunch of people, Stacy calls me on my Nokia cell phone. You know, the one with the snake game and 3 minutes after 9 p.m.? Okay. She called me on that, and she said to me, verbatim, she said, hey, do you want to have a movie night over at your house tonight? And I said, verbatim, sure. Who's coming with you? Listen, I had no game. Like I did not think Stacy Chowman was asking me out. And so I said, who's coming with you? And she said, And I thought, oh my gosh. And so Stacy came over to my house and we watched Finding Nemo on DVD. And the entire time I awkwardly side stared at her oh my gosh, you know. And so anyway, I ended up marrying way out of my league. Any men in the room marry way out of your league. And if you're in a relationship, you better say yes. But relationships start early. You know, in elementary school, love notes are already flying around. Then fast forward to college, one day, your dream girl calls you and asks you out. Okay, I don't know, relationships start early. My whole point is this. We are wired up for relationships. And I don't mean just romantically. We're wired up for friendships. We're wired up for family relationships. We're wired up for companionship. And so how do we get better at those relationships? How do we get better together with the people who we do life with? And I know you just asked that question, and I'm glad to answer that question for you today. How do we get better together with the people in our life? And so here's my big idea, and we'll put this on the screen if you're kind of tracking along or want to take notes. My big idea today is this. When we make our relationship with Jesus better, Jesus makes us better at relationships. When we make our relationship with Jesus better, Jesus is the one who makes us better at relationships. And I'm going to tell you how. There's this theme in the Bible, and if you've been here for a while, you've heard me say this, but there's this theme in the Bible that when we plug into Jesus, Jesus plugs some stuff into us. Jesus plugs love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, and faithfulness into us. Have you heard me say that before? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control into us. Have you heard me say that before? Yeah. Okay. Question. Does anybody here think if you plugged a little more love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control into your relationships, that those relationships will get better? Anybody at all think that would happen? Yes. And so whenever, in our relationships with our spouse or with your boyfriend or girlfriend or your kids or your relationship with a friend of yours or your relationship with that weird neighbor who lets their dog walk in your yard and pee and poop all over your front yard. Anybody have this neighbor, or is this just my neighbor? I am that neighbor, all right? But listen, in whatever relationship you're in, when we plug into Jesus, he plugs that love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control into us, and that makes our relationships better. I'm telling you, when we make our relationship with Jesus better, Jesus makes us better at relationships. It's the relationship X factor. And so I want to tell you a famous Jesus story today. And if you've been around church, maybe you've heard this, but it's about this story where Jesus meets a woman at a well. So here's a setup. Jesus had been walking for 3 days, walking. And he's got his Crocs on. He's walking for 3 days. And so he's tired. He is hungry. He is hangry. His dogs are barking, and he wants to stop at the Samaria Wawa for some water. And so that's where we pick up. We're at John chapter 4, starting in verse 7. It says this: Soon a Samaritan woman came to draw water, and Jesus said to her, "Please give me a drink. I want some Samaritan Wawa Dasani. Just give me a drink." The woman was surprised, for Jews refused to have anything to do with Samaritans. So she said to Jesus, "You are a Jew, and I am a Samaritan woman. Why are you asking me for a drink?" Now, I get this lady. Because I have a 6-year-old named Nixon. He may or may not be in the room right now. And whenever I sit on the couch, I'm talking the moment I sit on the couch, Nixon's like, "Dad, I'm so thirsty. I need a drink. Dad, can you get me a drink of water?" Come on, parents, have you heard this before? And I'm thinking, can you get you a drink of water? What's wrong with your legs? Are your legs broken? Listen today, all you need to do to get a drink of water without a refrigerator is just get a cup and go like this. You get water, right? And so I'm sure this woman is thinking to Jesus, why do you want me to get you water? Can't you get your own water? I mean, you walk on water after all. Hello. Can you get your own drink of water? Okay. And so if you kind of look at what's going on culturally, though, when Jesus says, "Can you get me a drink of water?" what he's really saying to this lady is, can we have a conversation? Will you be my friend? And so that's really where we're going to pick up today. And I have 3 points off to that. If you're writing notes, all right, you can take notes on this, but 3 points, and then I'll send you off to the Smash Mouth food truck across the road. Which, have you been there? Awesome. French fries? Good. Get them. Okay, but that's not what the point is today. Number 1 is this: better conversations with Jesus make us better together with each other. Kind of piggybacking off of the conversation he's going to have with this lady. Better conversations with Jesus make us better together with each other. Now, men, guys, fellas in the room, if you're here, just give me a nod or a grunt, like a Okay. Everybody went for the grunt. You just needed to do it. Let me ask you this. If you're a guy in the room, have you ever had, your person, the barbecue sauce on your ribs, the sweet glaze on your donut, your person? Has she ever asked you an awkward question before? Has this ever happened to the guys? Because there's some awkward questions. Yes, somebody's like, yes. I think it was a girl who said yes, wasn't it? I don't know. No, ladies, you get us with some awkward questions. You get us in some awkward moments, okay? So here's an awkward question that ladies you'd like to ask. We'll put this on the screen. I have 2 of them for you. Number 1 is, notice anything different about me? Now, let me give you men some instructions for how you're supposed to answer this. The rules to this question are, you have exactly 0 seconds to answer correctly. You can't step back and look at their hair. You can't check out their outfit. You have to answer correctly immediately, which, let's be honest, that's not going to happen. Basically, the correct answer to this question is, I'm in trouble, okay? The question more or less is, men, go in the doghouse, because we like to answer with, "I noticed that you look awesome today." That is the wrong answer, all right? And so here's a quick story. Last Sunday after church, I just got done preaching to you all about relationships, and I had the giant 5-foot Valentine's Day teddy bear. I thought I was killing it on the whole relationship thing. I'm like, I've got this thing down. I go home. The first thing that happens, I walk in. I'm carrying the 5-foot Valentine's Day teddy bear that I used on the stage last weekend. I walk in the door, and Stacy, first thing she says to me is, "Did you notice anything different about me today?" Now, the answer is I didn't. So I said, here's a 5-foot Valentine's Day teddy bear for you. No, but apparently Stacy had done her makeup different last Sunday. I mean, Stacy clearly had done her makeup differently last Sunday, and it was amazing. It was an awkward conversation. Okay, another awkward conversation starter is this one, and we'll put this one on the screen. Do you know what today is? You ever heard that one before? Now, I have a lifetime pass on this question, and here's why. 9 years ago, we were in Cancun, Mexico for our 5-year anniversary trip. Come on, could anybody use 80 degrees and sunny right now, like a Cancun sun? So we were down on our 5-year anniversary trip, and it happened to be that when we were down there, it was also my 30th birthday. And so on my 30th birthday, I woke up, and Stacy didn't say anything. And I thought, she's got something big up her sleeve. She is slow playing this thing. This is going to be so good, all right? And so I was like pretty excited. Fast forward 12 hours later, we were on our way to dinner. Stacy hadn't said anything. I mean, there wasn't a balloon. There wasn't a candle. I didn't get one of those texts with like the confetti cannon, like blood, like nothing. And so I just we were walking and I was like, hey, babe, do you know what today is? No lie, no hesitation. Stacy said, no, is today something? And I thought, you just gave me the greatest birthday gift I could ever get. I get a free pass to miss a milestone for the rest of our life. No, it's good. It was good. It was an awkward conversation then, but it's good now, all right? But how many of you have ever had an awkward conversation before? Anybody ever had an awkward conversation before? Some of you had it 20 minutes ago when Cotter was like, hey, stand up and talk to each other. And you're like... So we all know what it's like to have an awkward conversation. And back to this story with Jesus at the well. This seems like Jesus is having an awkward conversation because he's asking for water. And she's like, why do you need to give me... why don't you get your own water? And so this seems like an awkward conversation. And it's even more awkward when you look at the cultural layers going on. And here's why. Because Jesus is a Jew, and she's not. Jesus is a guy, and she's not. Jesus is the Son of God, and she's... There you go. Hello, okay? And so this seems like a really, really awkward conversation that they're having until... you kind of realize this girl's relationship history. Now, I want to be sensitive here, but this lady had changed her relationship status so many times on Facebook that they shut her account down. She had been divorced 5 times. She was shacking up with God number 6 right then. And so Jesus, when he says, hey, will you get me a drink of water? What Jesus is really saying is, look, I know you need some help in your life. You need some relational advice, girl. And so if you'll just get to know me better, I will help you get better at your relationships. Now, I got a question. This is not a trick question. This is a layup. Where's a pretty decent place to get to know Jesus better? Anybody, any idea, like a decent place to get to know Jesus better? Okay, two. All right, let me give you a hint. Okay, starts with a ch and ends with a urch. What's that spell? Church. Listen, I know I'm probably biased, but I think church is the best relationship therapy going, baby. And it's free. Can somebody say, praise the Lord? Now, maybe you've heard this before, and let's kind of go into the marriage category here. Maybe you've heard that the divorce rate of people who go to church is higher than people who don't go to church. Who has heard this before? Anybody ever heard this before? A few people, all right? I've heard this my whole life, all right? Must have just been what I've been listening to, okay? And I've always heard the divorce rate of people who go to church is higher than people who don't go to church and all that. So I ran across this study online this week. Can you put up that screenshot if you don't mind? This is from I don't know if this is reputable, Harvard. It's Harvard. Is that something? I don't know. Anyway, Harvard just came out with this study in 2018. And right here it says, new Harvard study shows that religious practice may reduce divorce by 50%. Are you all seeing this? Now, if you dig into this study, this is a 14-year study where they followed 66,000 people, and they discovered that couples that go to church together on a regular basis lower their likelihood of getting divorced by 50% later on in life. Can somebody say, go to church? Now, if you've been divorced, I don't want you to hear this as like some sort of judgment. We are not that church. We love you no matter what. Period. End of story. That's how it is for us. But there's something about going to church and not getting divorced here. I mean, I like statistics. Anybody like statistics? Now, here's a big thing that people say. Well, I don't go to church because church is full of a bunch of hypocrites. And whenever I hear that, I think, yeah. And we could always use one more. You should come. You know what I'm saying? Listen, everybody lean in. I need a physical lean in. Everybody lean in. Lean in. Okay, I got to tell you something. This is just between us. All right, you got your thick skin on? We're all hypocrites. Maybe that's why we need to be here. I don't know, okay? But we all are hypocrites, but there's always a place for us in the church. And here's the thing. A side perk of coming to church is it helps your relationships get better. It helps our marriages get better. So says this little university called Harvard, okay? It helps our friendships get better. And you may meet your future spouse here. Where's Darl? Oh, hey, Darl. Where'd you meet your fiance?
Right here.
Oh, right here. There you go. There's a case study right there. And listen, also another side perk of coming to church isn't just about an okay message and mind-blowing music. It's also a place where we can get to know each other and encourage each other in our relationships. And let me give you just one quick example of this from our basement, okay? My buddy Sean is in the room somewhere, and if he's not in the room, we have a picture of Sean. Where's Sean? Sean. He's what? Oh, he's counting money. Okay, Sean's doing big things, okay? Can't distract him. But this is my buddy Sean. Sean told me I could tell this story. And Sean is a fan of the Washington Commanders. Is that who they are now? It doesn't matter what their name is. They're just a bad football team, okay? No, but Sean is a fan of the Washington Commanders. And he told me I could tell this story. And 5 years ago, his life kind of looked like the Washington Commanders. I mean, it was falling apart. It was in the gutter, okay? And so when I say it was in the gutter, I mean there was drugs and lies and all the stuff. And his wife, Amanda, found out about all this stuff. And so one day she found out, she kicked him out of the house, and she, said, you need to get clean. And then she played a Taylor Swift song for him. If you don't get clean, we are never, ever, ever getting back together. And so Sean moved in with his buddy, and he went all in on his sobriety to get clean. He went all in on his faith. And Sean has told me so many times that every single one of his friends, when he was getting clean and after he got kicked out, every one of his friends said, you just need to, give up on your marriage. Because Amanda kicked you out, it's never going to work. Like, go ahead and get divorced. Just go. It's over. But Sean has told me over a dozen times that the only two people in his life who told him to fight for his marriage were me and our worship leader, Bo Dukes. And every time we come into church, we'd be like, Sean, okay, we know you're in a rough spot right now, but fight for your marriage. You got this. Keep going. All right, just go. Keep going. And fast forward 5 years later, if you look at Sean and Amanda, they're like two teenagers in love, man. Like, we don't need to see all that, guys, okay? Like, they're in love. They have a great family. Sean is 5 years clean, which is amazing. He teaches a recovery class every Thursday night right here, and he's still rooting for the Washington Commanders, so he still needs prayer. But I'm telling you, man, there's a connection between church and getting better together in our relationships. And so if you're in a tough season, keep going to church. If your marriage is in a tough season, keep going to church. And if your spouse won't come with you, you just keep going to church. If your friendships are in a tough season, keep going to church. If you have small kids and you're in a tough season, hello? Bring your kids to church and drop them off with our poor volunteers. Give them a tough season, all right? You know what I'm saying? And I remember that season. Listen, I remember when we had two kids in diapers. And Stacy would have to wake up at 5:30 and go to work, and it was my job to get the kids to daycare. And listen, I'm trying to feed the kids. I'm trying to dress the kids. I'm putting diapers on the kids. And the moment you put a fresh diaper on a kid, what do? They're waiting for a fresh one just so they can burn. Okay, they're just... So I'm changing diapers, picking up kids by the waist, picking up the diaper bags, bottles are dropping, the dog's licking the end of the bottle. I'm like, who cares? It's, build up their immunity, whatever. It's just, and I remember that season thinking, is this season ever going to end? I mean, that kind of thing will put a stress on the best of marriages, right? But I want to encourage somebody that no season is forever, but relationships can be. Relationships can be, and there's something about church, there's something about this place, there's something about Jesus that helps us be better together, because when we plug into him, he plugs love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control in us, and that makes all of us better together. And if you're single, church is a great place to come to become the right person before you meet the right person. It's a great place to come to become the right person before you meet the right person. So better conversations with Jesus make us better at relationships. Here's the next point. You got to break the... Oh, nope, I moved ahead. Okay, second point is this. Only Jesus can help us quench our true thirst. Now, who here goes to Wawa at least once a week? Let me see your hands. Wawa, once a week. Addictions. Okay. We have this 4 or 5. There we go. We have this program on Thursday nights called Celebrate Recovery. No, I go to Wawa almost every Saturday, and I know what I'm going to get when I go to Wawa. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to pray about it. I don't need to ask Siri. I know what I'm getting. I'm getting a buffalo chicken cheesesteak toasted. Come on, somebody. That's what I get. Now, when you go to the drink selection, though, is where it gets a little confusing. Have you seen the drink selection at Wawa? Do you really need 17 different types of tea? Is that necessary? Because according to my wife, the only thing you need is a Wawa green tea. That's all you need. So I went to Wawa yesterday, and I got some drinks, and I just want to kind of see if you were to pick a drink when you go into Wawa, which one you would pick. So the first one, okay, is tea. Who's going to choose a tea? A sweet tea, a green tea, a unsweet tea? Okay, tea people. All right, so you got your tea. All right, next, who's going for Wawa water? Smart Water, Dasani, Deer Park. Anyway, all right, some water, people. That's good. All right, let's see. Who's going for a soda, a Coke, a Pepsi, a Mountain Dew? This is the hard stuff. This is what I go for. All right, these are all the people who got your dentist a really big house. That's good. All right, and last one. Anybody go for Gatorade? Anybody like a Gatorade? All right, these are the athletes. I need a Gatorade. I just got up off the couch. I need those electrolytes. But regardless of what drink you get, you're going to get thirsty again. Isn't that true? Aren't you going to get thirsty after you get whatever you get? And Jesus is going to use that same idea to help this lady at the well. Okay, so back to the lady at the well, all right? Jesus asked her for water. She's like, why do you need me to get you a drink of water? And so this is what Jesus says in John chapter 4, verse 10. Jesus replied, if you only knew the gift God has for you and who you are speaking to, you would ask me, and I would give you living water. Anyone who drinks this water, we're talking like a Wawa, Dasani, anybody who drinks this water will soon become thirsty again. But those who drink the water I give will what? Never be thirsty again. It becomes a fresh, bubbling spring within them, giving them eternal life. Now, let me give you the JTV. This is the Joel Tice version of what we just read. All right. My version is this. Girl, you have been divorced 5 times. And you have slid in the guy number 6's DMs. You are thirsty, girl. And this 6th guy is not going to quench your thirst. That's what I would say, but that never made it in the Bible, okay? So what Jesus is basically saying is, girl, you're running to all these different things to quench your thirst, but only I can quench your true thirst. Now, have you noticed that we run to relationships to quench our thirst? We run to romance. We run to shows on Netflix that we probably shouldn't watch to quench our, romantic thirst. Like, have you noticed we run to these things to quench our thirst? Have you noticed this? Nobody's, okay. All right, just me. I'll just talk to myself. It's good. But we run to all these things, marriage, relationships, dating. We're like, oh, that's what I need. And we're like, oh, now I'm in a relationship. This is good. Oh, baby, this is good. This is good. And then we run to it again and again and again and again, and it never quenches our thirst. And then we're like, why didn't that work? And Jesus is like, hello, McFly. Only I can quench your thirst. And this word life right here is, if you go to the Greek, this word life in the Greek is zoen. Everybody say zoen. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but zoen. Zoen means alive. And I feel like what Jesus is saying to her is like, if you just come to me, I'm the one who will make you feel alive. It's me. I will make you feel alive. Now, we think, oh, well, I need love to make me feel alive. I mean, you know what the great theologian John Lennon said? All I need is love, right? And I remember the first time I told my wife, I love you, okay? And I was so buttery smooth, guys. I think, they're playing the saxophone in the background probably, like it's like a romance movie, because I told Stacy I love her for the very first time at the most romantic spot possible, the Georgetown Howard T. Ennis Elementary School parking lot. And it was nighttime. Stacy was on like a 10-minute break from her job. It was dark, but I thoughtfully had parked my car and kept the headlights on my car on, just so we could so I could illuminate the situation, But I had a 1989 Honda Accord with pop-up headlights, and only one pop-up headlight was working. So that's true. So it was dark, rainy, and cold. Okay, so. But I said it, when I said I love you, like, I don't know if you remember when you say it for the first time, but as it's coming out, I'm like, no, don't say it, stop, like, bring it down, Joel, okay, like, pop down like your headlight, okay, pop down, like, no. But I was like, I love you, and she's like, And there was this long silence, and she's like, I got to go back to my job. But I love you too. I'm like, woo! That was 18 years ago, and when you fall in love, I'm like, that's all you need, because after all you need is love, right? But at 18 years together in a relationship, I realized you need more than love. Sometimes you need money. Sometimes you need patience. Sometimes you need like a black belt in forgiveness. Come on, somebody. Sometimes you need a Xanax, all right? Like, listen. Relationships aren't all rainbows and butterflies. Did you know this? There is the reality of relationships. So let me just give you the reality of relationships, maybe in our relationship, and I don't have to, go back very far. How about this past week? No, this was actually a few weeks ago. Remember when we got that big snow a few weeks ago? So we got the big snow, and our whole family went outside, and we're like playing in the snow. The kids are doing like snow angels. We're all laughing, having like a family moment. Me and Stacy shoveled our entire driveway together, and we took a shovel the driveway selfie together. So look, here's our selfie after shoveling the driveway. Look, you post that online, and you're getting all kinds of emoji comments. All right, so like we had a great moment, and then right after this picture, we go inside, and I'm helping Nixon get his wet snow clothes off, and I put me and Nixon's snow stuff in our dryer. Now, why I didn't grab Stacy and Nora's wet snow stuff, I don't know. I'm a man. I forgot. Okay, it didn't cross my mind. So our stuff is drying, and Stacy hears it like clanking around in there, and she just says to me real sweetly, she's like, "Hey, honey, what are you drying?" And I haven't learned anything in the last 18 years of a relationship. And so I was like, "Oh, baby, I'm drying me and Nixon's wet snow stuff." And so Stacy, again, real sweet, she's like, "Do you think like you could throw me and Nora's wet snow stuff in the dryer?" Now that's what she said, but what I heard was, "I want you to make a lifelong commitment to be the person who, anytime it snows and everything is wet, you are the one who is in charge of all the wet snow clothes, and I'm going to record your answer. This is a binding agreement. Do you say yes?" That's what I heard. And so I said, "I'm not doing that." And Stacy's like, "Honey, what's wrong?" And I'm like, "Nothing's wrong with me. What's wrong with you?" And she's like, there was nothing wrong with me, but now there is, okay? And then we had a passionate conversation. You ever had a passionate conversation? And that didn't work because it never does. And then we went into the Cold War. I don't know if you know what the Cold War is, but that's when you live in the same house, but you don't talk to each other. It's like, you don't say anything. And finally, Stacy came to me and she's like, honey, all I did was ask if you would throw our wet stuff in the dryer this time. And that's when it hit me. I have hearing problems. Did I just go atomic because I have hearing problems? And I'm like, I need to get out of jail free card. And so I just said, I was like, baby, you remember that time when we were in Mexico? No, but what I've learned is in relationships, you need patience sometimes. You need to be able to say, I'm sorry sometimes. And for somebody to say, hey, I forgive you. And you got to be able to, Stacey and I have learned, we got to give each other grace because Jesus has given us grace. And if it weren't for Jesus, Stacey would have buried me in the backyard a long time ago. I am sure of it. But what I've learned in family and marriage and parenting and friendships is that sometimes people will let you down and sometimes you will let people down. Sometimes people will disappoint you and you will disappoint other people. And when that happens, we got to go through life with the expectation that only Jesus can actually meet our needs. And we can give other people Jesus' grace because he gave us his grace. And when you change your perspective and you don't expect to get all your needs met from somebody else because they can't do that, that makes every relationship better together. And maybe somebody needs to hear this today. Just remember that Jesus went to the cross for you. Jesus went to the cross to forgive you when you didn't meet his needs, when you didn't measure up. And so we can forgive other people when they disappoint us. We can forgive other people when, maybe they forget to throw our clothes in the dryer when they're wet. You like how I slid that in there? I was just trying to get that off. Anyway, but only Jesus can help us quench our true thirst. And the last point is this, and I'll let you guys roll out of here, is to break the cycle of broken relationships. Last question I'm going to ask you today is this. What is your favorite love story movie? And guys, do not act silent during this one, okay? What's your favorite love story movie? And just shout me down right now. Anybody want to just tell me just what your favorite love story movie is? The Notebook. The Notebook. Any Hallmark Christmas movie. Nobody's going to... What? Aladdin. Oh, I didn't expect that one. Anybody thinking Star Wars like me? Now listen, the greatest love story movie of all time, you guys got it all wrong, is The Princess Bride. As You Wish, right? Anybody? Okay, you all don't know this movie. Listen. My favorite character in this movie is this guy right here. Who knows who this is? Yes. Inigo Montoya. And if you don't know who Inigo Montoya is, okay, he's the guy who has the greatest line in the movie. He says, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. Love that line. Anyway, you all need to watch better movies. But if you don't know the story, Inigo Montoya spends the whole movie looking for the six-finger guy who killed his dad. And at the very end of the movie, he finds a six-finger guy. They get in a sword fight. It's the worst sword fight you have ever seen in your life. But Inigo Montoya kills the guy who kills his father. And so it's like this hero moment. And then he says this. We'll put this on the screen. Inigo Montoya says, I have been in the revenge business so long, and now that it's over, I don't know what to do with the rest of my life. And I've been in the revenge business so long that now that it's over, I don't know what to do with the rest of my life. Now, I tell you that because clearly half the room hasn't even seen this movie and you need to go watch it on Hulu this afternoon. But no, I tell you that because sometimes we've been in the broken relationship cycle and business in our life for so long, we can't imagine our life without some strained relationships. Those broken relationships have just been kind of around so long, they're kind of like revenge for Inigo Montoya. It's just kind of there. And so how do we break the cycle of broken relationships in our life? And so let's go back to the story. Jesus and this lady at the well, she's, Jesus offered her water. He calls it living water to give her a new life. And here's how she responds when Jesus offers her living water. Please, sir, the woman said, give me this water Then I'll never be thirsty again, and I won't have to come here to get water. Go and get your husband, Jesus told her. And she says, I don't have a husband. Jesus said, you're right. You don't have a husband, for you have had 5 husbands, and you aren't even married to the man you're living with now. You certainly spoke the truth. Everybody say, Jesus burn. Jesus burn. I mean, like, burn. No. If you really read the whole story, Jesus is all love and compassion to this woman. But what I think Jesus is getting at here is, to the lady, like, hey, lady, you can't change your 5 ex-husbands. And you can't change your current boyfriend. The only person that you can change with my help is you. And have you noticed that you can't change somebody else? You ever noticed this before? Yeah. Now, who's tried real hard to change somebody else? You tried real hard? It doesn't work, does it? I've been trying to get Rob to be a Ravens fan forever. Who you root for, Rob? Green Bay. See, I can't change him. Working on it. Now, let me just free somebody up in the room. You can't change your spouse. You can't change your adult kids. You can't change your parents. You can't change that weirdo coworker that sits next to you and has like tuna fish out of the can every day for lunch. Like you can't change them. The only person that you can change with God's help is you. I love what Ruth Graham said. If you don't know who Ruth is, she was the wife of Billy Graham, who's probably the most popular or well-known pastor of the modern time. I think we have a picture of them we'll put up on the screen together. This is Billy and Ruth Graham. And what Ruth Graham said one time is profound. She said, it's my job to love Billy, and it's God's job to change him. It's my job to love Billy, and it's God's job to change him. And that is the same truth with your honey bunches. That's the same truth with your adult kids, with your parents, with that weirdo in your family who comes to Thanksgiving dinner with like the windbreaker pants on. You're like, hey man, it's not 1989 anymore. Okay, like it's only God's job who can change them. And so our job is to love them, and it's God's job to change them. And sometimes, loving someone where they are, not what they're doing, but loving someone where they are is the very thing that God uses to change who they are. Sometimes loving them where they are, not what they're doing, but where they are is what God uses to change who they are. So if you know how this story ends with Jesus and the woman at the well, at the end, the woman, she takes her jug of water and it says that she puts it down and she goes into town and she tells everybody how Jesus changed her life. And it says that she let go of the jar that she was holding on to. Now, I'm like a detail person. I like details. But that seems like an unnecessary detail. Like, do I really need to know that she like let go of the jar? Like, I just need to know she went into town and her life was changed and woo, confetti, right? Like, that's all that really matters. But it tells us that she let go of the jar that she was holding on to. And this week, it kind of hit me like, maybe that detail is symbolic. Maybe she had to let go of what she was holding on to so that what she was holding on to could let go of her. Maybe she had to like let go of all her past hurt from those broken relationships, all her past, frustration, and all her past wanting to get revenge because I'm Inigo Montoya. Like maybe she had to let go of all that stuff so that she could go and live a better life. And so here's my question for you to ponder over when you go to Wawa for lunch today. Here's my final question today. It's this: what are you still holding on to that's keeping a relationship in your life from being better together? What are you still holding on to that's keeping a relationship that's in your life that's from being better together? And what I'm not saying is you don't have the right to hold on to it. Oh, you have the right, buddy. Come on, like they deserve for you to hold on to this. Come on, anybody like ever feel like Inigo Montoya? Like you killed my father, you deserve to die. Come on, give me a little sword work. Come on. Yeah. Sometimes it's therapeutic to do a little sword work, okay? But I'm not saying that they deserve for you to let go of that. I'm not saying to like excuse bad behavior, but I am saying that sometimes we got to let go of something. Sometimes we got to maybe even let go of someone so that it will let go of us. I am saying that sometimes for any relationship to get better, we got to put down what's making us bitter. I am saying that our job is to love people, and it's God's job to change them. And is anybody thankful that God forgave you when you didn't deserve it? Anybody at all? I mean, I'm so thankful for that. And so what are you still holding on to that's keeping a relationship in your life from being better together? Because sometimes the best way to end a sword fight is to put down your sword and to pick up love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, and self-control. That's how we get better together. Let me pray for you guys. Jesus, I'm thankful for this story with this lady who, has a batch of bad relationships that she's kind of walked through and probably carrying all kinds of stuff. And, the whole idea of being better together is really a foreign topic for her. Just something that she hasn't experienced in her life. And so, God, I just pray for maybe the person in this room who feels like that this whole idea of being better together, like it's just not real to them. And God, I just pray that we'll walk away knowing what we can do. Our job is to love people, and your job is to change people. You've given us grace, and so God, give us grace with other people. And God, I just pray that we'll help make our relationships better by committing to coming to church. I pray that you'll help make our relationships better by committing to you, because when we make our relationship better with you, Jesus, you make us better at relationships. And give us that love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control in all of our relationships, because we know that will always make our relationships better together. In Jesus' name, amen.